Good morning, everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started here. I just really want to give you kind of a heads up of, I think, what to expect this morning. First and foremost, we'd love to thank Doug Thompson from Floyd Wickman organization for coming on and spending 2 days live with us and delivering his knowledge and expertise with what Floyd brings to the table. I can tell you that when I sat in on Monday's course, I was pretty amazed at how much of an impact Floyd had on my career over the last 20 years. A lot of the things that I still say and do today were a direct result of things I learned from him in his sweat hog group in I want to say 1996 or 97. So you can see that I didn't even know how much that it had an impact on me until I kind of revisited this. So I think today is going to be even more informative for you. There's nothing you'll ever convince me in this business that an organized presentation of compelling arguments designed to influence decision-making is the most important thing a realtor will have in their toolbox, and that's really what a listing presentation is all about, having that dialed in, having it a very smooth ebb and flow to it. I would do the same presentation for my mother as I would a complete stranger, and it was very successful for me over the years. I was able to close a lot of transactions as a direct result of that. So I really want you to pay close attention to this class, really take in everything that he's delivered and really take a look at this in a very deep way, because it can have a very big impact on your life, as I know it has for I want to say hundreds of thousands of people. I'm sure he's graduated over 300,000 people from his course. So I can tell you that that's pretty impressive stuff right there. So there's got to be some meat on that bone. So I appreciate you guys. Don't forget to join us on AndyMacWorks.com. Andy Mac Works, our Facebook page, and then for your brokers, our national flagship brokers. Please join those sites so that we can stay connected. A lot of information is delivered through those social media sites, so make sure you join those as soon as you get off the course today. So without further ado, I'll bring on Mr. Doug Thompson. We want to thank him again for being on. Please take notes. Please really pay attention to what he's delivering here, guys. Like I said, nothing more important out there. So here's Mr. Doug Thompson.
Thank you very much, everybody, for giving me a chance to be here today. I truly appreciate the time that I've been given, and Andy Mac Works for actually putting this all together, and the team, of course, at Associate Works for actually inviting me to be here. So it's exciting to be part of your day today, and most importantly, of course, all of you people have taken the time out of your day to be here. So we're going to get started right away and sort of try to knock it out of the park as far as talking to you today about the listing presentation and what that's done for my career and for many others. There's no question about it. We're going to start off today similar as we did on Monday, just in case somebody that is on today was not with us on Monday, so that we can actually talk a little bit about who we are. So, first of all, of course, Mr. Wickman. Who is Floyd? Well, Floyd, to me, of course, I call him Dad all the time. I had a long conversation with him on Monday afternoon after our broadcast about the exciting work we're doing here together, and he said hello to all you people. Floyd is a guy that never stops caring. He puts his heart and soul into what he does and how he achieves what he achieves, and so I want you to realize that he's real good at what he does, and we're real happy to have him in our lives. More importantly, after that, I guess, is myself too. As far as a real estate agent, I don't put this up because I want you to see, all the accolades that I did or anything that I did. In all fairness, I just want you to know that I was a fairly successful real estate agent, and I want you to feel comfortable and confident that when I'm talking to you and when I'm delivering to you, that I have been where you're at in your real estate careers, whether you're just getting started and struggling or whether you're rocking and rolling and things are going well for you. So over and above what's here, a couple things that I don't have on this list that's really a proud moment for me is that I really appreciate the fact that to give back to your communities. And so I was lucky enough in Canada to be given a Golden Jubilee Award for the Easter Seals organization for many, many years of contribution giving back to that organization, because I just believe that it's real important to have a charity that you deliver to and you give to too. So just another thing for us to think about. And then as far as the Chamber of Commerce goes, I was very active in the Chamber of Commerce, and I was lucky enough to get an award for bringing community support into our small town for being able to be recognized North American wide. So just a couple things that I want you to point out is to get involved in your community. It's the only reason I point that out, is your community is what supports you, and your community is what helps you to get through. So please be involved in your communities. Now, over and above that, please don't be shy. Give me a call. Send me an email. Between Monday and today, I've had several phone calls with some of the people that were on the line on Monday, and I was very happy to be able to see that and be part of that. So by all means, I hope that you take the time to give me a call. You ever have a challenge in the real estate industry in any way, shape, or form, doesn't matter what it is, feel free to call me. I'm happy to try to help you, and we'll definitely do that. So make a note of my email address and my phone number, and I'll be there to help. So let's get started today. Now, if you stay to the very end today, Floyd and I have put together a special surprise for you, so I hope that you do that, combined with both of our products that we're looking at today. So we look forward to dealing with you that today. Further to that, as we said, if you're a new real estate agent in the industry today, I congratulate you, number one, for being here, because there's a lot of challenges that you're coming up against in the real estate industry yet to come, and we're going to help you today to get you started. We believe that when you join the Floyd Wickman organization and myself, when you're brand new, once you've went through one of our programs, you're going to jump ahead as if you're a 3 or 4 or 5 year realtor instead of being brand new. So that's kind of really important to the way we see things. More importantly to that is if you're in the business for a while and you've hit one of those slumps and you need a reboot or you need a kick in the butt, because we've all been there. No matter how good you are, we've been in a slump. So if that's where you're at, I'd be happy to try to help with that too, and that's what we're going to talk about some more today. Just how to get there. We all know that success and failure is part of our life. We talked at length about that the other day, and I just touch on it again today, because the only thing I wanted to point out about this is that even though I had a very successful real estate career and I'm really enjoying being a trainer, I definitely many times ran up against that wall and couldn't break through it. Ran up against the wall and it was a struggling situation. So to understand that, I thought I'd just let you know that when I first went into Camrose to actually be a real estate agent, this is the car I drove. It was a 2-door Comet, and I actually showed houses and sold houses in this particular car. And at the end of the day, it's a challenge to actually realize is that's where it all began, and that we actually did accomplish the task of selling houses in a car like this. And so further to that, when you look at what's next out there, after the next 2 years, I definitely struggled. It was miserable. I was failing. I was drowning. I didn't know why. I just couldn't get going. I was spinning my wheels all the time. And I was so used to being successful, because we had, as I said before, the largest horse and cattle trailer business in all of Canada. And I was used to selling 5, 6, 7, 8 horse trailers a day, so I was very used to having the success of sales. And so now all of a sudden here I am struggling, and how come? Why? What's going on? Why can't I do that? One of the first days, weeks into the real estate industry, my uncle actually, who owned the estate brokerage I was in, invited me to actually participate in helping this person try to buy a farm. And I'll never forget this situation. It was like it was yesterday. Is that the fella came in, sat down, we started talking about it, and I just closed him like I was selling a horse trailer. I closed him hard and closed him fast. And it was like all of a sudden he jumped up and ran out. Literally jumped up and ran out. And I was like, what happened there? So of course my uncle said, look, selling horse trailers is different than selling real estate, and you got to realize that you got some learning to do, buddy. So what I like to do is I like to ask you this: how many of you today just couldn't figure it out at the very beginning? Go ahead and tell me you had a hard time, you struggled a little bit at the very beginning of your career. Anybody want to be honest and say that you actually did struggle a little bit? Okay, very good, very good. Okay, well, in all fairness, let's face it, for myself, the change in the day that came was most definitely the day that I took the Sweat Hogs program in 1990, Floyd Wickman program. life changed that day, because at the end of the day, I needed to be trained. I needed to be trained where? In the real estate industry. I needed to get good at the real estate industry. In those days, the program was 10 weeks long, and it was hard work, definitely, because you had to go there, show up, and actually work. Surprise, surprise. Why wouldn't that be part of the real estate industry? It sure is a struggle in some places today. Now, in saying that, what I did is in that program, we had to set a goal. We had to set a goal for ourselves to see what we really desired and what we really needed out of a goal. And my instructor at that point in time, I still talk to him today all the time. And he inspired me. He got under my skin, I used to say, at the end of the day, because he used to push me and push me and push me. And sometimes we need to be pushed. So I had to set a goal, and he said, now I want you to set a goal that's a lofty goal. I want you to set a goal that you really need. Let's face it, I needed a new car. So I made up my mind that I was going to buy a Cadillac. This is the car I bought. This is the Cadillac I bought. And I said, let's do it. I'm going to make this happen. So within the program, we worked hard. Things got going. We got rocking and rolling. And in week 9, we drove this car to the class. And my friend, who was part of that same class, he decided his goal should be an airplane. And in week 10, we flew that airplane to the class. Now, of course, he didn't buy the whole airplane. He bought a quarter of the airplane. But we still got to fly in it and still got to go there in the actual program. So within the Wickman organization, if you set your goals and you decide to actually kick it, you can do real well. I promise you, beyond a shadow of a doubt. So we'll help you with that. So set your goal. What's your goal today? What's something that really inspires you? What would be something that you would love to get? What would be something that would really get you up and get you going? Tell me. Go ahead. Make a note. I'd love to watch or have a look and see what somebody says about what would get them up and get them going in their careers today. Do that. We're definitely going to be there to try to help you. So what I'd like to say or talk about there is the Floyd Wickman Kickstart program. We talk lots about that on Monday's class, and we had several people actually go ahead and register for that class, and we're very excited about that. Furthermore, today we're going to talk a little bit more about the listing presentations and the listing presentations that my wife and I generated and created and have brought forward for you guys to be able to look and use. Now, as part of that, though, one of the things that I actually looked at when I was training over the last 5 years is that I believe so strongly in the Get by Giving philosophy. It's one of Core's values of Floyd's core values, and I believe that if you don't do that, you're really struggling. A real good example of that is when you're looking at the bottom line and you're working in your office and somebody who's brand new shows up and you've had some experience, you've got some experience, take a second, stop and help that person. I had that all through my career. I did it in reverse, help people all the way along, and nothing's better than Get by Giving. Just works. So we believe so strongly. If you don't buy anything from us, I don't mind. Give me a call anyways, and we're still going to help you, because that's just the way it should be in the real estate industry. The more we give back, the better it's going to be at the end of the day. So now when it comes to passion, what is your passion? Well, my passion, beyond a shadow of a doubt, is helping people. My passion, beyond a shadow of a doubt, is getting people to go to the next level. What is the next level for you? I don't know what it is, but I promise you we can help you get there. Now, for myself, I have many people come into my program that have wild dreams and crazy ideas on what they should have happen. And one of those guys that did that is Joel. Joel is a really cool guy, and this is just a story I throw out as far as a neat guy. Joel's been in the real estate business for 20 years, and when he came into the program, he said, I know you can teach me something, but I'm not sure what. And so we went through it, and he went through the whole program, and you can take a second and read the story, but it's really quite interesting. It actually falls right in line with what my dad taught us when we were kids. You got 2 ears and 1 mouth, boy, use them in the same order. And so I think that's so cool, is that at the end of the day, we have to learn. If there's one thing that you learn throughout all of the program, is that we learn to close, and we also learn that we gotta learn that quiet, be silent, wait. The next person that talks loses is one of Floyd's favorite stories. So be patient and realize that the most powerful closing tool out there is the ability of silence. So take your time, be patient, and be silent when you need. That's closing. Now, for the to that, we have to learn how to smile. I touched on that last week or on Monday, and I'll touch on it again because I think it is so important for us to learn how to smile. That first impression that we give people in all points of our lives is what makes or breaks us as a salesperson. Show people you care. Show people that you're interested. Starting the conversation off with a smile, by starting the first impression with a smile. Be positive. Give the energy that shows that you care. So what gives you energy? What is the most powerful thing in your career today? What gets you up and gets you going in the morning? Is it the ability to jump up and click your heels that you actually just signed a listing? Is it walking out and high-fiving your client because you just completed an offer to purchase on selling their house? What is it? Try to figure out what that is, and then go over it and over and over it in your mind so that it gets stronger and stronger for you as you go. Now, those kind of energies and that kind of pizzazz is what we're going to put forward to help us have that bridge to pull us to the plan that we're going to succeed in. Now, as I said on Monday, I'd love to give you a step-by-step plan as to actually succeed, because I know we can. No matter what level of production you're at, we can do it. And so in saying that, go ahead and tell me quickly, if you would, please. Do you have a plan? Would you like a plan? If we were to give you a plan, would you use it? So, go ahead. If we were to give you a plan, would any of you use it? Tell me yes or no, please. Okay? Good. We've got some. Love a plan. Okay. Sounds exciting. Well, let's get started and talk about it. Well, I hate it, but the very first part of the plan is always stop procrastinating. We all know that the number one biggest problem in our industry today is procrastination. We have a problem that we don't want to admit, that we just don't want to get up and get going. We struggle on this one area. So what we got to do is we got to realize that this is an evil in our life, and we just got to decide to fix it. So to fix procrastination, what are we going to do? We're going to just do it today. We said that on Monday, and we're going to do it today. So we're going to step up and get at it today, and we're not going to be willing to take back seats. Back seats are for losers, and we're in the winner's seat. We're moving forward. So I got to ask you, do you want to show up like a winner? Do you want to look cool while you're there? Do you want to be at the kitchen table and know that you are the best at the industry? Do you want to make yourself look proud and comfortable and confident when you're sitting in front of people? I hope all of those things are important to you. I hope that's something you'd really like to have happen, because there's nothing better than being cool, calm, and collected and know that nobody can knock you off your game when you're going to do a presentation. So to do that, you got to become a master presenter. What does a master presenter mean? Is the first thing you got to do is you got to have the confidence. But confidence comes with the right tools. If you have the right tools in your toolbox, confidence is easy because you know how to do it. So to do that, what we did to help you after many years of coaching and training in this business, the first thing that I found is that people as a whole have the confidence they'd like to portray, but they don't have the tools, being they don't have an actual presentation, which sort of scares me. But at the end of the day, what we did is Debbie and I, my wife, we put together an achievement to have us all work together and win. And so you can go see that at floydwickmantraining.com, and you can go to myrealestatepresentations.ca, and you can see the presentations that we've put together and what they're going to do for you and how they're actually going to work. And we'll get to that in a second, and we'll go through all of these presentations, I promise you. If Associate Works gives us a chance, we'll come back and do more of them. Maybe the buyer's presentation, maybe the for sale by owner presentation. Would anybody like us to come back and actually do that? I'd be happy to do it. Please let Associate Works know that you'd like that to happen. Now, within our presentations, there are 5 presentations that actually we cover day in and day out. The first one is, of course, a listing presentation. The second one is a buyer's presentation, for sale by owner presentation, pre-listing package, and pre-buying package. All of these presentations you get in one shot when you actually work with us as far as for our personal presentations. Now, let me give you a little bit of background, a little bit of insight on this information. First of all, they're web-based. Web-based meaning that they have very nice functionality functionality within them. You can move around in them very smoothly. You have every slide in the whole presentation is editable. Every image is editable. There's nothing that you can't change. The backgrounds are ready to go and changeable. The colors are changeable. The fields all have drop-down menus in them that you'll be able to take advantage of and use as you go along. They're 90%. Let me say that again. They're 90% complete, meaning that all you have to do is put in your personal information, your picture, and your logo, and you can go out and actually use these on the streets today. So that's impressive. That's out of all the years of my training that I've done. People say, I don't have time, I can't get it done. And at the end of the day, $60 a lesson. How can you do it? That's the way it is, What I like to do is I like to ask you this, is are you a web designer? Well, my web designer costs $120 an hour. And I hope that beyond a shadow of a doubt that you know that you're worth more than that, because you are as a real estate agent. And so at the end of the day, why would you take time to try to build and have listing presentations, buyer's presentations, and put all the time in to build that when it's ready to go for you? I believe it's just a waste of your time. Fix that. Also today, I gotta wonder, are you a real estate agent or are you a web designer? I hope you're a real estate agent, because you make money sitting in front of people. You make money closing transactions. And I promise you, we can do that. We can fix that. Sounds like a little bit of a sound problem, so what I'm going to do is try to talk a little bit louder and see if that helps us. We need to believe in our value. What is our value? What do we have as far as real estate, as far as today, as far as real estate agents go? How are we going to help that? How are we going to make sure that we are definitely strong within our industry today? So what are we going to do that? Well, we have to learn how to present our value, and we have to learn how to show what our value is. Now, when we're talking about presenting our value, what is that, Well, I believe, first of all, today we're going to talk about listing presentations. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about putting together our web-based listing presentation that is a state-of-the-art, cutting-edge presentation that will help you to be successful in the industry today. Now, did you know, it's kind of interesting stat, and we touched on it on Monday, but the key of it is that 60% of people out there that you're competing against, now remember, this is your competition. The people you're competing against have no presentation at all. 30% of them have a presentation and only use it some of the time. Such a mistake. 10% of people have a presentation and use it all the time. Well, of course, guess what? That's the people that make all the money. So I got to ask you, which group do you want to be in? Which group would you prefer to be in? Let's face it, we all want to be in number, what? 1, 2, or 3? Well, of course we want to be in. So, just wait before we get started, though. We need to do one more thing before we actually jump into a listing presentation. Before we get ready to be into a listing presentation, we need to, first of all, take advantage of something that will knock the socks off your clients and impress the heck out of them. So if you want to impress the heck out of your sellers, there's one more job that you need to do first, and that's deliver to them in whatever format you want to deliver it to them, in digital format, in written copy. All the above is fine, but we must deliver to them a pre-listing package. One of the greatest things that we're looking at today in a pre-listing package is that what will it do for us? And a lot of people say that to me as I teach and as I train. Why would we do that? Why? It doesn't seem to make sense. Well, the reason that we do a pre-listing package is it's going to save time, makes us look more professional, makes us look more organized, and when we get to the listing presentation, the people that are actually out there today as your customers already have bought you before you get there. All you have to do is put the icing on the cake. The cake's already baked. So please take your time, learn how to do a pre-listing package, and then take advantage of it. Is anybody actually using a pre-listing package out there today? Let me tell you. Go ahead and tell me yes or no. Are you doing a pre-listing package today? Notice silence brings lots of participation. I like it. So I hope you are using a pre-listing package, because if you are, that's fantastic. If you're not, that's a bit of a problem. We have to also realize, obviously, that there's a difference between just taking in a CMA and actually doing a CMA is important, yes. But just taking in a CMA and trying to make that your presentation, no, that's a mistake. We need to fix that. Yes, I know that price is important. It's a big part of the presentation, but at the end of the day, it only becomes a small sliver of the whole presentation when we all break it down. So we're going to talk more about that in a minute, but price is important. Now, in a professional listing presentation, I believe there are, as you can see here, 9 particular areas that we're going to cover, and we'll go through each one and why that's so important. But for us that have been through this, either a Sweat Hogs program or the new Floyd Wickman program or any program with Floyd, you know what comes first. First, we have to park across the street. We have to strut across the street. We have to get to the front step. We have to smile. We have to ring the bell. We have to ring the bell, smile, pay them a compliment, take them to the kitchen table, and small talk smart, or break the ice and then get started. Now, why do we small talk smart? Because people don't care what you know until they know that you care. And so we got to talk about something else other than real estate before we get going. Then we're going to get into our introduction as far as the overall presentation goes. Then get into the process, and we'll explain what that is. The process is a 5-step process that we go through. We're going to go into understanding your concerns. What are your concerns? Asking them the questions of when do they want to move, where do they want to move, and so on. We're going to get up, have a look at the home. We're going to analyze the home with them. Let's face it, that's a very important part of the whole plan. Then we're going to go through my customized marketing plan that I've created just for you as the customer. We're going to talk a little bit about price, timing, and estimated of net, and then forms, details, and timing at the end of the day. Now, last but not least, we're going to come to a mutual decision that you're okay to work with me and I'm okay to work with you. And last but not least, we're going to deal with the hot buttons that we call today, which before used to be called hesitation handlers or problem solvers, anything along that line. And the hot buttons are so critically important as far as to help us when we come up to a challenge. And you'll see what I mean in a minute, because we're going to start to actually deliver the full listing presentation in a second. Now, we need to realize that in doing this full presentation that the functionality that we talked about earlier is critical. And of course, during this type of a presentation, I can't actually show you that functionality step by step. But for you, again, please go to floydwickmantraining.com and you'll be able to see the functionality that we're talking about. You'll be able to cover that off, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. So let's get started as if we're doing a real live listing presentation. My real estate presentations are ready for you. So our introduction slide is just, of course, you in this particular part. And next to that, we're going to go into the introduction. So thank you very much, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, for giving us the opportunity to be here today. I truly appreciate your time. I'm not here for the sheer sake of taking a listing. Anybody could do that. Have you heard of the expired list? Well, what it is in the expired list is we have 2 things in common. Number 1, that the seller and you should not have agreed to work together as far as the other realtor on the expired list. And also the seller didn't get a chance to meet their goals because they didn't get their home sold. Frustrating part. You wouldn't want to be there, would you? Of course not. Now, I'm not going to be able to role play the answer back to you, of course, because at the end of the day, there's nobody to role play with, but you'll understand what I mean. My infallible marketing system. As a matter of fact, it's a 5-step process that we go through to actually accomplish the perfect marketing system for you, and if you don't mind, I'd love to share that with you. Would you mind if I started now? And then my 5-step process is this. Now, this is called a preview of coming attractions. What that means is, or POCA, we run all the way through these 5 steps so that we give an overview of them before we actually deliver them. It's real important for people to know what you're going to say before you say it, and then they know the track that you're on. So, within my 5-step process, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, what I like to do is start off by understanding your concerns. What that means is we're going to ask you a few questions about you and why you want to move, where you want to go, and so on. Number 2, we're going to analyze your property. We're going to get up. We're going to have a look at the home. You're going to be the seller. I'm going to be the buyer, and I want you to please deliver to me all the aspects that could increase the value in your home at this point in time or make your home worth more money. Your customized marketing plan, well, we've generated and created a customized marketing plan that's laid out just for you. And that's important to you, isn't it? Of course. Price, an estimate of net is very important. We're going to go through it and we're going to figure out exactly how much money you're going to have in your pocket. Because let's face it, you need to know how much money you have before you can move forward. Wouldn't you agree? Forms, details, and timing, that's an important part we're going to go through step by step to make sure that you're comfortable with everything that we're doing in all of these areas. Last but not least, we're going to come to a mutual decision. A mutual decision that means you're okay to work with me, I'm okay to work with you. How am I doing so far? Great. Okay, fantastic. Then let's get started then, and we'll go right start at the top again and go into understand your concerns. If you don't mind, that's what I'll do. So we're going to understand our concerns. Now, in our presentations today, we have 10 different bullets that you can hit. Now, individually, of course, in the presentation, we would hit all 10. Today, we're not going to do that. We're just going to touch off. You can read the 5 that are there today, and we would just ask these questions and get as much information as we possibly can from the customer. This is a rapport building stage. This is a find out, a fishing stage of information and knowledge that we're looking for. Some of these questions we would have asked long before we got to the presentation, but we'll still ask them again to make sure that we're getting the correct information that we heard before we started our presentation, because we all know, if you've been in the business for a while, sometimes the answer that they gave us on the phone previously is not the same answer that you get in the presentation. Now, the last but not least most important question that we talk about here under address our concerns is this, the last bullet or the last point here. What would it take to get you to list your home with me today? Mr. and Mrs. Seller, what would it take to get you to list your home with me today? Such a powerful question. Again, silence, waiting for them to give you the answer. This is our first chance, our first opportunity to find out how good we're doing, to find out if we're on track, to find out if there's a challenge, to find out if they have a friend in the business, if they're thinking of selling it on their own, or any of the challenges that are out there that you may have within the presentation. So have the guts. I know it takes a little guts to ask this question, but please have the guts to ask this question, because you will shine like a star when you do. Next, we're going to get up and have a look at the home. What that means is, of course, everybody's going to get up. Everybody that's at the meeting, because everybody, of course, it's on title, is there. Otherwise, why would you be doing a presentation? So take everybody with you when you go look at the house. Why? Because this is the opportunity for you to shine. This is when you get to have some fun with them. Remember, as a real estate agent, we are professional actors. We are always on stage. So we need to be able to take advantage of this time to have some fun. We need to have a look at the pictures on the wall. If you're in my house and you walk right past the 3 pictures of my granddaughters on the wall, that's going to be a problem. I'm not going to like that. So you're going to lose a little bit. But if you're smart enough to stop and look at those pictures and say, hey, who are these, the beautiful little daughters? Are they yours? Chuckle, chuckle. Or are they your granddaughters? Of course they are. Take some time and realize what's important within the home to help you build rapport. So important. This is your time to shine. This is when you really get to build rapport. Now, when you're done that and you've went through all that process and you're heading back to the kitchen table, when you first sit down at the kitchen table, what I need you to do, what I want you to do, is give them a compliment about some part of the entire presentation that you just went through and see in the home. Maybe the garage was spotless clean, so you give them a compliment on that. Maybe they have some roses. We all know anybody who grows roses loves to be complimented on them, so give them a compliment. The reason we do that is that brings us back in a positive note to the kitchen table for you to get a chance to get started and get rolling back into the presentation. So a comment right here is really important. Now, the next part that we're going to look at is we're going to do another polka here, because now we're going to start to talk about our marketing plan. Again, remember, we said a customized marketing plan. So customized marketing plan just for that customer. So if you don't mind, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, what I'd like to do is I'd like to go through the 3 points of our marketing plan. We're going to talk a little bit about my company. We're going to talk a little bit about my marketing plan. We're going to talk a little bit about me. Do you mind if I continue at this point? Okay, awesome. Thank you. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to go over a few bullets, if you could, please, on my company. Now, in this particular case, of course, I've just put in 5 stock bullets that you can utilize or take advantage of if you want, or you can, of course, completely change them and customize them to yourself. In every slide after the presentation from here on in, I personally would build a slide that actually matched all of the bullets that are in your presentation here. So brand recognition in your corporation, whichever that is, I would definitely have something that would show off your brand recognition in that particular situation, and so on, of all the bullets that are there. And then, of course, you're going to do a polka on them, and then each slide you would demonstrate what is the importance of that particular bullet about your company. So can you see, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, how the power of a strong company could help you get your home sold today? Would that be valuable to you, to have a strong company working for you? Of course it would. Okay. Notice that I always lead people to the questions and to the answers, where I need to be able to have them just answer the question the way I wanted it answered, not necessarily the way they wanted it answered. So we lead people when we're closing. We don't push them over the cliff. We lead them to where we want them to go. Now, next, we're going to go into that customized marketing plan. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to talk to you, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, a little bit about our customized marketing plan. So what we'd like to do is to talk a little bit about our Just Listed and our Just Sold campaign. Why is that important to you? Well, at the end of the day, this is where the buyer for your home could come from. We never know where that buyer is going to come from. We could go out there and be door knocking and give it the option as far as to come on down to our open house if we wanted to, delivering our Just Listed at the same time. And next thing you know, we run into a family that wants to have somebody move into that neighborhood right next door to their particular home. So very important as far as delivering our points and showing the value of why all of this is important. So we're going to show you, just for fun, as a few of the customized slides that are actually in the presentation today under marketing, just so you don't have to build them all if you don't want to. Your online marketing presence, you need to have an online marketing presence. Let's face it, it's critically important in today's world. You know, some sort of a video campaign that you're either producing or developing yourself, or you're hiring a company to do it, whichever works the best for you. A flyer campaign, there's many companies out there that do that well, or maybe you're using Top Producer or something like that, where you can actually just set it up and it works for yourself. Further to that, are you doing open houses? I've had great luck with open houses throughout my career. I think a lot of times the reason people don't have good luck with open houses is you haven't ever been shown how to do it. So one day maybe we'll have a class on how to do a successful open house, because a good open house can make you a lot of money. So we of course would go through that. Now of course with open houses, I believe that it's a good idea to ask them at this point, do they like open houses? Are they interested in open houses? Because some sellers, as we know, don't like open houses. So no use trying to do something that people don't want to do. Now, furthermore, we're going to talk a little bit about me. So, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, it's not that I want to brag, but I want to just point out a couple things that are real important in the marketing plan of me personally, and what I've done to actually try to be the best real estate agent that I can. As I said to you before, charity is real important to me. I've worked hard to be involved in a charitable organization that I work diligently in, the Easter Sales Organization. Do you have an organization that you personally use, or you take advantage of, or you work with? Which one is it? Okay, well, what I'd like to do, if you're okay with that, when we get your home sold, I'd love to make a donation to that organization. Would you like it if I made a donation to that organization when we get your home sold? Would? Okay, I promise I'll do that when we're done. And then lead through all of the reasons why you personally would be able to go forward to actually be the right realtor for them. If you're not selling yourself all the way along in this process, it's really a challenge, because let's face it, at the end of the day, who are they buying? At the end of the day, who are they looking at in the eyes as you're doing this presentation? They're buying you. You might have a strong brand behind you, and that's great, but at the end of the day, they're buying you first. So this is a really important area of the actual presentation. Now, this point right here, I think, is one of the most important points of an entire presentation again. And this slide is put in there for the exact reason, so to make sure that you do ask this question. Now, the question that we're going to talk about, or the question that we're going to point out, is similar to the one that we had way back in Address Your Concerns. But at this point in time, we want to make sure and ask this question, and I'll explain why in a second. The question that we're going to ask is this. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, if you're okay with my company, my marketing plan, and me, and assuming we can agree on price today, would you be willing to put your home in the market with me today? Silence. Next person that talks loses. This is for sure by the time you've went through all this part of the presentation, you're 2/3 of the way through the presentation at this point in time. This is when it's going to pop out if there's a negative. This is when you're going to find out that you're either on track or you're off track, that there's a challenge one way or the other. So when that pops out, then you can actually deal with that. Now, why do we do that right now? The reason for that is if you like to play cards, you still have kept your ace in the hole at this point in time, which is what? Of course, the price. They want the price from you. They want to know how much you think their house is worth. So find out first if you're the right realtor for them, or why give away the price? The price is your last stab at making sure that you're the right realtor for them. So, of course, now we would deliver price. Now, when it comes to fair price or estimate of net, we have to go through a step-by-step process to deliver that. Very quickly, the step-by-step process is we want them to be able to take advantage of them picking the price, not you picking the price. Now, that doesn't mean they just get to pick any price out of the air and you accept it. Of course not. Them picking the price, meaning that you bring with you all of the expireds, the actives, and the solds that you can do that are out there. You give them, first of all the expireds, and you ask them, please, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, if you could go through and find the home that closest matches your home in this particular 3 or 4 or 5 or 8 or however many you can bring, the more the better, comparisons that's closest matches your home, I'd really appreciate it. So now just wait and let them do that. They'll come up with one and they'll say, here's the one that I think closest matches. That's great. Now if you could please go ahead and pick one that you think is your backup, your second best. Now when they pick that, they've established a range that for the expireds of whatever that magic number is, it doesn't matter, but they've picked a range. Now get them to do the same thing with the actives, get them to do the same thing with the solds, and now you have got them to pick the price range that matches their home. It works every time, I promise you, beyond a shadow of a doubt. It's one of the most powerful tools that I ever took advantage of and used in my real estate career. It helps them to bring the price to where it needs to be, and they can see it because you've wrote those numbers down on your talking pad. Very powerful, very important. Now, if that doesn't work, we go into the price triangle. Now, the price triangle, of course, is all based on the amount of time that you have to get the number of days on the market to equal it out to make sure you get the job done. So, we'll show you how to do this, but today we're running a little short in time, so we're going to move ahead today. Now, forms, timing, and details, of course. We're going to take a minute here now, and we're going to actually go through the forms. We're going to read these forms step by step all the way through for them. Why are we going to read the forms? Because not read every line, but do an overview, because we've all tried to get somebody to sign something that they're uncomfortable with. So if they're comfortable with ahead of a time, they're not nervous then when the time comes, be it the offer to purchase time or so on. Cover off on the details and timing. That's important, and of course you're going to do that. Now, at this point in time, we're just about at where we're going to ask them to sign the paper. So when we hand pen and say, please sign, if they have a hesitation, you know that at this point in time, you might have a challenge. So what we're going to talk about now is we're going to say as an example, somebody says to you that the hot buttons are where we're at, and we're going to use them to carry us forward as far as our challenge goes. But say as an example, somebody says that they just want to wait 30 days. Well, the tool that we use at this point in time is we use what we call as the timing analysis. And the timing analysis breaks down exactly like this. First of all, if they said they wanted to wait 30 days, you'd put in 30 days under the days column, and you extend your date ahead to wherever it is from there. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a little larger version of it just so that we can see what we're doing. It's a little easier to see. So moving ahead as far as the date goes. Now, your marketing time. Well, that's the average days on the market in your area, wherever that is. I'm not sure at the end of the day. So the marketing time is maybe 90 days, 92 days, 102 days, whatever it is that you put in there. Adjusted marketing time, what that is that's half of the marketing time. And why do I put that in there? Is because at the end of the day, what we're looking at is that we know that many homes expire, many homes actually are relisted on the market, so the true marketing time is not really there. So we'll give an adjusted marketing time, and I usually use 50% on that of whatever the marketing time was. Then we look at the processing time. Processing time is the days that you have conditions that you need to remove, whether it's 15 days, 10 days, whatever you use in your market. Last but not least is possession. Possession is usually 30 days or 45 days after the time comes that you actually have removed all the conditions. Now, when you add up all these days, quite quickly, what this is going to do is it's going to show people that they don't have as much time as they think they have to make it happen. And it's a great tool. I promise you, it works all the time. Next to that, for sale by owner. Somebody comes up and says to you, hey, look, it's all well and good, but I want to sell it on my own. Well, this is such a great tool. This is the for sale by owner ad that you may have seen on Facebook, you may have seen around, that actually shows the owner of forsalebyowners.com. And it's such a powerful ad for us to use under the world of for sale by owners. Now, further to that, today, if you would please, and if you got any value out of today, what I would really appreciate you to do is do a couple things. First of all, if you would be so kind to go ahead and actually like us on Facebook. Like us at Floyd Wickman Training on our brand new Facebook page that we just created. I'd really appreciate you to take a minute and go there and click on that. And if you would, I'd really, really, really appreciate that. Now, at the end of the day, send me an email, and I promise you, as I said, Floyd and I have got a special gift for you. And so what we're looking to do is be able to send that to you. Now, the gift that we're going to do today is that we're going to be able to have the first, let's see, what's my magic number? I love 7. The first 7 people that actually sign up for both the listing presentation and the Kickstart program today are going to get $100 off. So what we're going to do is we're going to watch, and for the ones that do, you're going to get a credit for $100 today on your sign up. So go ahead and actually go to floydwickmantraining.com and sign up. So we'd love you to be part of that if you would. Now, don't forget, email me today at my email address, and I'll be happy to go over anything that we went over today. It takes a lot of time to go through a listing presentation, and it's hard to actually deliver everything that we can deliver in 20 minutes. Now, with saying that, you know, we always ask, how much does it cost? How much is it going to cost? What's the price? Okay. Well, the price is only for these 5 listing presentations. What we're going to do, everybody's jumping. What's the price? What's the price? Well, give me a second to jump off and help and be part of us at the Wickman organization. We're excited to do that. My guarantee today is that if you're not satisfied with anything that we are working with today, please just let me know and we'll work something out, because my goal is to make it easier for you. My goal is to make your life easier in the real estate industry today. Now, is it a good investment? Of course it is. But if you can't afford it for one reason or another, we never leave anybody behind because of the money. My wife and I have had many people help us over the years as far as the money goes. So if you're short the money and you can't do it today, send us an email, send us a text, and I promise you we'll work something out so that you can actually win today. You know, you already have one listing presentation. I appreciate that. The difference is this is a web-based product that automatically then flips into PDF and automatically flips into a copy for you to be able to deliver to your customers and however you want to deliver it. It's just a cutting-edge presentation. That's the difference in what you already have today. Over and above that, when can we get started? Well, of course we can get started today. It only costs $299. So the Kickstart program was $399. This is $299. We're going to knock off $100 for the first 7 people that sign up today for both products. And all you have to do that is go ahead and go to Floyd Wickman Training. Now, if you're interested more on the actual listing presentations and you want to find out more about them, take a minute and go ahead and look at under my YouTube channel, Doug Thompson. You start typing in Floyd Wickman and I'll come up. There's so many Doug Thompsons, you have to do this. Then when you get there, go under playlists. And under playlists, you're going to see the presentations. And my beautiful wife has done a voiceover on top of every single editability part of that presentation that you're going to see. So you'll never be held up. How do I do this? How do I do this? No, it's all there. It only takes 30 minutes and you can cover it all the way through, step by step. No question about it. In saying that, I greatly appreciate the time that you've given me here today. I am getting real close to wrapping up. Go to the Floyd Wickman training site, and you can actually, when it asks you, did anybody help you, just type in Doug Thompson. Give me a call, send me an email. I'd love to help you. I'd love to have you part of my real estate career. But again, as I said, please like us on Facebook. I hope you enjoyed today. It's time for me to wrap up, and look forward to working with you again sometime in the future. And if the Associate Works boys want me there, I'd be happy to do it again for you. So signing off from Floyd and I and the Floyd Wickman organization, I promise you beyond a shadow of a doubt, our philosophy is get by giving. And we're there for you. Just ask for the help, and I promise you we'll be there. So talk to you soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doug. We appreciate you being on. I can tell you that, like I said at the beginning, an organized presentation of compelling arguments designed to influence decision-making is probably one of the most important things you'll do in your real estate career. Like I said, he's had a huge impact on all of our careers, and I know he can do the same thing for you. Bringing Floyd into your listing presentation will serve you greatly. So thank you very much, Doug, for being on. We really appreciate it. Thank you, everybody in attendance. We appreciate you guys taking the time to be on these few events, and please reach out to us if you have any questions. Thanks again.